Henry had found himself in quite this situation. He didn't know where he was, either did his driver and fireman and the guard. They were in a scrapyard. Henry was supposed to only go to Barrow-in-Furness, but unfortunately they had been sent down the wrong line. It seemed very, very odd. The line that they were on that led to the scrapyard looked as if it was ready to fall apart. After what seemed about an hour to Henry, even though it was only 20 minutes, his driver, fireman, and the guard came back. "Did you find anyone?" asked Henry. "No luck," said the guard. "I think we're the only ones here," commented his driver. Henry rolled his eyes. "Whew," he scoffed. "Why don't we just go back down the line of where we came from?" "That would be a good idea," said Henry's fireman. Suddenly, there was a loud thump. "What was that?" shouted Henry's driver. The guard ran up the line to see what the noise was. He came back with a worried expression. "A large tree fell on the rails." groaned Henry. "Just our luck." Henry's driver, fireman, and the guard walked to the brake van. They went inside and decided to have a chat with one another. Henry sat in the cold with the trucks. Everything was oddly silent. The trucks didn't make any jokes. Suddenly, Henry felt the rails rumble underneath him. He didn't take too much notice about it. Just then, one of the trucks shouted, "I can see an engine! It looks like a steam engine!" "It was just getting peaceful too," moaned Henry. But he took a look around. The truck was right. On one of the sidings, there sat a tank engine. The engine looked in perfect condition. It was in a nice maroon livery, just what the engines on the LMS had before they were replaced with the diesels. Henry had never seen this type of locomotive, though. It looked a little bit like Thomas, except a bit smaller. Hello?" called out Henry. Henry's crew and the guard walked out of the brake van over to Henry. "What was that?" they asked. "I was trying to get the attention of that engine over there in the siding." "What engine?" asked his fireman. "The one over..." Henry froze. The engine wasn't in the siding. But... "Calm down, Henry, calm down," soothed his driver. "There's nothing to be alarmed about. You're probably just seeing things." A whistle was heard in the distance. Everyone looked ahead, for there was the tank engine that Henry and the trucks had saw. The engine's eyes were filled with darkness. The engine stared coldly at them. Just then, wheel turn by wheel turn, the engine crept slowly toward them. The guard jumped back into his brake van, and the driver and fireman jumped back into Henry's cab. They didn't care if a tree was blocking the line. They wanted to get the heck out of there. Henry raced away as fast as he could. They crashed into the tree that was on the line. Thankfully, they didn't derail. They soon reached the main line. And finally, Henry slowed down. He was out of breath. Nobody knew what to say. All they did was backtrack all the way back to Vickerstown. They told their story. Edward was horrified. "Edward, do you know something?" asked Henry. "Well," said Edward, "he wasn't on our railway, but... Well, do you know how we worked with the LMS? Yes, but what does that have to do with anything? Well, continued Edward, that engine that you saw was an experimental engine based off of Thomas. I was one of the engines who went to Barrow-in-Furness during the war. I warned him to be careful with his post train, but he'd take no notice. I wish he did. What did you say to him? Asked Henry. Because we were in a time of war, and when the Battle of Britain started, air raids. Remember any of those? Henry looked down at his buffers. Yes. I tried to warn him. I would tell him to be careful about the air raids, but he wouldn't take any notice. I wasn't the only one who warned him about this. Many others, but you know what happened in the end. One night during the war, during an air raid, he fell off a cliff. He wasn't watching where he was going. No, he didn't take any care. That scrapyard that you were in, that was the same exact place where he was sold after his death. He haunts that area now. You're lucky that you got out of there alive. Some don't. You mean... He's... Yes, said Edward. Some who are at that scrapyard just like you, those never lived to tell the tale. Henry stayed quiet. He was completely lost for words. It took him a while to get over this. Henry will never forget that night when he had met the Midnight Post.